Welcome to the GAB Talks by the Independent Press Award. I'm your hostess, Gabby Olczak. To participate in the 2026 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and NewYorkCityBigBookAward.com. On this episode of the GAB Talks, we're so fortunate to be chatting with Michael Dow, author of the multiple award-winning Nurse Florence Children's Health Educational Series, which supports global health promotion, literacy, and diversity while teaching students, children, and families valuable education about a variety of health issues. There we go. There's a copy there. Michael is also the creator of the award-winning Nurse Dorothea, a mental health series for teens and young adults. Today will actually mark Michael's 5th visit with the GAB Talks. We're honored to be part of such an impactful journey. Nurse Florence was recently named the winner of the 2026 Independent Press Award in the Children's Educational Series for his titles, Nurse Florence, How Can I Care for My Cast? How'd your genes get passed to children? Tell me about the Mediterranean diet, just to name a few of the winners. Book 1 of Nurse Florence, Nurse Florence Help I'm Bleeding, debuted in 2020. The nearly 200 editions have won both individual awards as well as book series awards, including the Independent Press Award, New York City Big Book Award, Mom's Choice Award, Family Choice Awards, and Literary Titan Gold's Book Award. When Michael isn't writing and managing Dow Creative Enterprises, he works as a registered nurse, and Michael just shared with me that he works about 60 hours a week at an inpatient psychiatric hospital in Tucson, Arizona. I don't know how you do it all, Michael. He holds 3 master's degrees, and prior to his nursing and publishing career, Michael served in the Air Force for 8 years, then spent another 8 years as an Army Wounded Warrior advocate. Can't make this stuff up, folks. Michael used his GI Bill to go through nursing school and received his RN degree in 2020 from the University of Arizona. Book 1 of Nurse Florence was published the same week. You got it. He joins us from Arizona, where he resides with his wife, Perla, and their 3 children. Michael, congratulations. Thanks for joining the GAB Talks once again. 5th time is a charm, isn't it?
Thanks for having me, Gabby. It's always great to talk to you.
Thank you, Michael. So, this is our 5th conversation, but there may be some folks still who are not familiar with you and your work. Can you share a little bit about your childhood and professional background and how it inspired you to launch the Nurse Florence series?
I didn't really have a love of reading when I was a kid. I developed that after I went back to school to get my first bachelor's. I had dropped out of college even a couple of times. And then I finally went back, got focused on education, started reading my college textbooks, which were really the first textbooks I had ever read, because I wasn't that great of a high school student. And I was reading these college textbooks, and then I would go to class when we talked about that chapter, and it all made sense to me. I was like, wow, this must be how you really study to get A's. You read the text first and then you go to the lecture. So I did really well with that technique. But I developed a really strong love of reading during college, really. And one of my hobbies is to read news. I'm just constantly reading. So, and then my second master's degree with the University of Phoenix, I was writing a paper. It seemed like every 2 or 3 weeks, a short paper, but still a research paper. And that's what helped me develop my writing efficiency, we'll say, that I am able to publish basically a book every 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
We published around 90 last year.
That's amazing.
So this is just like a healthy coping skill that I do, an expensive healthy coping skill.
Yeah, how many since 2020 now? How many editions of Nurse Florence are there?
Well, this weekend I'll be publishing book 249. So
249.
and
Okay,
we're
wow.
going to about 700. So we're
That's
hoping,
your end goal, 700.
yeah, we think, to cover all the main diseases and stuff like that, because we do disease topics for kids so that if granddad gets the disease, everybody can sit down and learn about it and stuff. So yeah, we think we'll stop around 700. We'll see.
So why Nurse Florence and 700? That's mind blowing. Why Nurse Florence, and what made you decide that this was something that you needed to do and that it was important to educate kids about nursing, about medical terms, etc.?
Well, I picked the title Nurse Florence after the great Florence Nightingale, who many Americans aren't aware of, and we need to make her famous because, like, she
Well, you're
is.
working on it.
What she did is like tremendous. That she created nursing as a profession and helped create the very first nursing school in the world in the 1800s. And because of her, if you've ever been in a safe and clean hospital, you can thank her.
Real.
Basically, I mean, for real, like we need to make her famous. But and she is on some money in England. She's a national hero over there. But so that's why it's titled Nurse Florence, to help make her famous. My end goal with Nurse Florence is to improve health literacy around the world so that people can have competent conversations with their doctor or their family provider, um, so that everybody is knowledgeable about how their body works and what to do to live healthy and things like that. So we'll see, if this really does spark a global movement for health promotion, which I hope it does. But yeah, that's the hope, is that a global movement for health literacy and health promotion is sparked.
Now, in 2024, you launched Nurse Dorothea, your mental health series. You've said that you want to help transform lives with Nurse Dorothea. Why is it so important, Michael, to our society, as you say, to remove the stigma about mental health issues and share ideas of the journey to well-being? Why is this an important topic to share?
Well, I mean, gosh, the world we live in is very can be distressing to read about current events and all the many, many challenges that we're facing as a society. And so I'm just doing my little part in this big puzzle that
A little bit more than a little part.
I mean, what if we could all talk about our mental health, like, candidly and frankly with each other, and not
Yeah.
try to hide things, and it because we're scared to talk about it or whatever. Like, mental illness is a real thing that many people suffer from. There's a study that suggests that 10% of U.S. adults are taking an antidepressant medication. So I mean, this is like kind of a relatively common thing. If you're not on a mental health medication, you probably know somebody, and that somebody isn't telling you that they're on it. Like,
Yeah.
the mental health issues touch everybody's lives, and I like to say at the hospital that we're all one life event away from a mental health crisis. So, I mean, who knows what that life event is for you versus for me? The death of a pet could be that life event for somebody who is
Yeah.
alone and has no family, and the dog was their family. So now they could be hospitalized for a brief amount of time just because their dog died. So every life event is different for each person. But yeah, so there's so many things that we have to deal with that's in this world that, you know, I'm just hoping that addressing mental health issues will help us understand ourselves and help society a little bit.
Well, Nurse Dorothea is really aimed toward young adults and teens, and Nurse Florence, probably the younger set, Michael, but I
Yeah.
would say that it's really for every single member of the family.
Yeah. Nurse Florence, what we discovered is that it's really a family book because even
Yeah.
grandparents were saying they were learning things from it and stuff. So really, Nurse Florence is a family book, and then Nurse Dorothea is also a family book, mainly geared towards uh, teenagers. We're not sure how low the age range can be for Nurse Dorothea, but Nurse Dorothea is really fun to do as a family, to read it out loud, because it is an interactive book where the reader for Nurse Dorothea is asked to participate with the characters in the story, to actually do the activities that the characters in the story are doing. So yeah, Nurse Dorothea is special that it could help bring stronger bonds, with family as they understand mental health together.
Who is Nurse Dorothea? You
Um,
shared about Nurse Florence, but who is she?
Okay, so she also should become famous. Dorothea Dix was in the 1800s. She lived in the 1800s in the U.S., and
Okay.
she lobbied state legislators as a woman in the 1800s to cause reform for the curing of the mentally ill, because she discovered that like people with schizophrenia and dealing with hallucinations and all that stuff were being chained in cages, sometimes naked. So just
Wow.
treated like total animals. And so she lobbied for mental health reform, and it worked. And I'm not saying that, her efforts created, something that we're all living with now, the psychiatric hospitals as of today, but it started us on the path to have appropriate mental health care. And so
You put
she's,
it for.
that's amazing. One person can make a difference, and she
That is
made a great
fascinating.
difference.
Yeah, and you're on that path also. So both the Nurse Florence and Nurse Dorothea series highlight caring professionals, strong women. Why do you think it's important for young kids and young adults to see these roles represented? And what do you think, what do you hope comes out of that?
Well, women have played important roles in society, and I have worked alongside many awesome nurses, and that are women, of course, because nursing is mainly a woman's profession.
Yeah.
But you know, women need to be honored. I mean,
Thank you.
the
Yes. Yeah.
difficult things that women go through and still persevere and do a great job, and manage all kinds of things, family and work, and it's just me. And my mom, was very kind and caring, and I wonder if I got many of my traits from her, because she raised me mainly since my dad was working so much. So women just need to be honored. So that's why my
Well, thank you.
nurses are
We
based.
all thank you. We and they usually say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so I'm
Yeah,
sure your mom had a tremendous influence on who you are today. So
yeah.
Michael, you're a successful author, publisher, entrepreneur. What are some lessons that you learned from this entire process?
That book marketing is very difficult.
It is it, and now you self-publish, so that's and you published what did you say, a book a week?
Well, every like 4 days, basically.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest thing that I've learned is that you just got to do a little bit every day, and
Yeah.
you'll get there. Whether it's like writing a page a day, or writing a chapter a week, or just doing a little bit every day, if you're interested in publishing a book. Don't give up, and the reward feeling of accomplishing something as publishing a book is worth the challenges and the difficulties that you go through. That maybe you have created something that could touch many lives, and that hope can give you purpose, and purpose leads to a, a a higher quality of life. I think having purpose.
Is that what drives you, Michael, having purpose?
Yeah. You know, I hope and wish that what I'm producing, will touch millions of lives, really.
Yeah.
And and again, what to think about the world that I might be helping to create, where you know people become adults at 18 years old and they can immediately start having competent conversations with their doctor and their nurses that are caring for them if they have to have healthcare experiences in our healthcare system. That like, what kind of world would that be? Wow. That
Yeah.
that people under truly understood their body and could could have that back and forth communication with their doctor. That I just think it's amazing what could happen. So that's what kind of drives me, is keep moving forward to see if we can achieve that dream. But
Well, you're moving forward for sure. Nurse Florence and Nurse Dorothea, they're multi-platform. Explain to everyone, Michael, what you offer and the breadth of the educational series, because it's not just books.
um well, with Nurse Florence, we're hoping one day to have an animation studio, and we did create one of the books as an animated show, just a 5 minute you know video, and it's pretty awesome. Some people that have seen it have
Mhm.
said, "Michael, I thought that was a PBS video. That was amazing." And the
It
contract.
does have that PBS feel to it for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, the contractor I used, his team did a great job. I just sent him the 16 images from the book, and he made it as a 2D animation video. It was amazing. But
Wow.
so we're hoping for that. And we have other book projects planned this year, and but I got all kinds of plans that'll branch off of the book series, but I gotta sell a lot of books to get there. But
And you have coloring books also?
yeah, we have coloring books, and we were recognized by Nurse www.nurse.org for the creative idea that this could play to help kids understand their body while they're coloring.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Another healthy coping skill, coloring. So
Yeah.
and we
For
did
adults and children, coloring is
yeah,
very therapeutic.
yeah, adults can totally do the coloring books too. It's meant for the family, really.
Michael, hold up a couple of the editions for us because I want
Yeah.
folks out there to see the illustrations, which are very, very important components to the series. You work with more than 100 illustrators from diverse backgrounds, age groups, ethnicities. Um, Look at that. What's so inspiring about these artists and why are they such an integral part of Dow Enterprises?
Well, I mean, we actually have around 180 illustrators
Wow.
from around the country, and
And you can
there's a
read about them on your website. I love the way
yes,
you have a bio of almost every single one of them. It's great.
yes, and about half of them are college students, and what also makes this project really fun is I'm helping college students become published illustrators before they even graduate college. You know,
Wow.
to help their resume and stuff, so that
Yeah.
hopefully they can get a good job. 'Cause I do hope to have a team of illustrators on staff one day, but right now we're just not there yet financially. But that's the hope that because the illustrations are, I would not be able to do these books without the illustrations.
Yeah.
So
It's heavy stuff. It's heavy material. The illustrations definitely break it up and give it more levity for sure.
yeah, we have some illustrators that can do up to like 6 drawings a day because they're retired, like Lindsay, and she
Mhm.
just sees the vision of this project. And then we have other illustrators that do like maybe a drawing every month.
Mhm.
When they find time in between classes and things like
Yeah,
that. So we have the whole spectrum of speed of production going on with illustrators, but yeah, it just so happens that there's basically a new book being done every 4 days because it just happens that somebody's done with their drawings, about every
that's
4 days.
amazing. How do
Yeah.
you choose what topics to cover?
I just have a master disease list that I found on the internet, and we're just like
Okay.
crossing it off.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at that moment, whatever interests you.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it could be like a big news story about like we're doing Nurse Florence, what is listeria? That bacterial infection, from
Yeah.
that you can get from food. And so there was like a big news article, months ago. I was like, oh, it's probably time to do that book. So
That's smart marketing right there. It's
yeah.
taking something straight from the headlines for sure. So Michael, are there any new themes or series that you're excited to explore that you possibly have plans?
Oh yeah. Okay, so one of we got two other book series that we're doing this year. I'm really
Okay.
excited about it. Series number 3 is going to be about citizenship, and
Oh,
uh, uh, it's uh, I
what's the
think it's
name?
I think it's pretty creative. It's going to be titled Citizen George,
Okay,
and
after.
after George Washington.
Okay,
And,
excellent.
and I've already basically got that trademarked. So because
For anyone listening out there, it's taken.
yeah, so what is really awesome about that is that George Washington actually wrote a book, and it's titled Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior in Company and Conversation. So when that I understand from his background, when he was growing up, he had to write these rules down over and over and over again, all these rules. So
Mm,
this book has his favorite rules that he had to write down over and over again. And each book will focus on one of the rules. So this is meant to be like a kid's book, just like
okay.
Nurse Florence. But like rule 1, every action done in company ought to be with some sign of respect to those that are present. So um, I just have a hope that maybe this Citizen George series could help bring back civility back into public conversation. That we can be respectful with each other and have a higher quality of life as a society.
And
So
actually maybe have a conversation instead of just texting.
yeah, that too, and or yelling at each other.
Yes,
Like
yes. That sounds like a great idea. I'm looking, when is that pub date set?
um let's see. It looks like we're gonna do two books at the same time. Probably, I think it's gonna be June.
Ooh,
Um,
excited to see
and
that.
and
Okay, and the
and then
next one?
I have number 4 that I'm not gonna say the name yet because
Okay.
but it's gonna be about leadership, and we're gonna use another nurse that is also a historical figure that she was very important lead in an organization that she's going to teach very important leadership concepts. It's going to be a smaller book series, like maybe only, I don't know, 30 or so books.
Oh, just
Um,
a few books. Yeah,
but um, like we're going to focus on transformational leadership, which has been proven over and over
that's great.
again.
Great topic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, wow, Michael, you never stop. So just as a blanket question across all of your series, which are now Nurse Dorothea, Nurse Florence, um, uh,
Citizen
George,
George.
yes, and the fourth one, which is a mystery. What do you hope a child or a family feels, not learns, after closing one of your books?
Um, uh, I guess part of me hopes they feel a little bit of hope that
Yeah.
maybe there is a way to improve the world, that and maybe there's things that they can do to improve their life, to improve their family's life, like that my company's logo is, let's see, there it is.
Dow
It's
Creative
Yeah,
Enterprises.
DCE with the arrow going up. So the I guess that feeling that like, oh, maybe we are on a upward swing instead of the downward uh drop, you know.
Do you have a mantra that you live by or that Dow Enterprises lives by?
Yeah, we got a trademark. Help civilization reach its potential. Um, so it's really big, a really big idea.
Big idea.
But I, when I was thinking about all these book projects I was gonna do and that I am doing, I thought maybe what if these books help us all reach our potential, you know? Um, so yeah, this what I hope.
Well, Michael, you're a tremendous role model. I mean, I think what you're doing with even your illustrators is so fascinating and inspiring. Um, what's the one thing that resonates with you and motivates you to excel? You work over 60 plus hours a week in a psychiatric hospital. You publish a new book every 4 days. How do you do it?
Um, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. I'm just doing
There
one
you
step at a
go.
time.
That says it. One step at a time. One step at a time. So, where can listeners follow your work, support what you're creating, and purchase your books?
Well, www.dowcreativeenterprises.com is like the master site with all the links to all the different things. But for the Nurse Florence is www.nurseflorence.org. You'll find all kinds of stuff about the project there, including the illustrator bios, like you mentioned, and things like that.
And Michael, aren't you selling the books now on Harvard University's online bookstore?
That was a very pleasant surprise that I discovered like about a year and a half ago, or maybe more, that Harvard University is selling my kids' books. you
That's
know,
a huge feather in your cap.
yeah,
Congratulations. That's
that
amazing.
that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. So this was so great, Michael, our fifth visit. Um, Can't wait to see what's next. Can't wait to talk to you again. As always, it's been a pleasure. Hope to see you one of these days at book camp this April.
Yes.
Maybe we'll meet another one of your illustrators, and maybe next year we'll get to meet in person
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thanks for making the time in your schedule.
Thank you.
This is your hostess, Gabby Olczak of the GAB Talks. Join us next podcast when we speak with Gisela Rose, author of Elixir, a journey into ancestral alchemology. Until next time, keep on reading.